This is the perfect sunny day to sit back, relax, and sip on a glass of ice cold pink lemonade. Well, no sooner do I start relaxing than my mind turns to quilts. Well, that's pink lemonade quilts to be exact. This wall hanging is beautiful in colors of summer days. Oh, it's pink and pink gingham, meadow green, and butter yellow. I love the fussy cut flowers just bursting from the very center of the block. Now, pink lemonade is a 1-block repeat set together with lattice and cornerstones. And then the cornerstones connect the blocks into a chain. The chain also extends into those rosy borders. You know, this is a big block. It's 18 inches before the lattice. Ooh, but it's yummy. Lemonade is sometimes touted as having been introduced at the St. Louis Exposition in 1904, but that's not true because lemons are old world food and they have been around for hundreds of years. Lemonade rose to popularity during temperance, the anti-alcohol movement of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Well, this is enough relaxing. Let's just get to work. This is the smaller version of the 18-inch pink lemonade block. At 9 inches square, this block is cute as a button. Well, you can use the 9-inch block for wall hangings, 9 blocks, or for lap robes at 12 blocks. Well, there's basically 2 different patches in the block. The 4-patch, well, there's 4 4-patch in each block, 1 in each corner of the quilt. And then those chevrons, 4 chevrons in each block, are really 2 different flying geese patches sewn together. Really easy to do. And in the very center, you have a 3-inch fussy cut, and I just love the quilting. Some free motion quilting around the fussy cut, and then there's stippling all through those blocks, through the lattice and the cornerstones that holds it together. Now, the framing border, a little narrow framing border, frames the whole quilt with that striped border and mitered corners. And then a repeat of the framing border in the binding. Oh, just so easy to do. Well, I have both sizes of blocks laid out so you can really see the difference. This one just petite in the 9-inch size. All of these pieces are 3.5 inches, finished at 3 inches. And then this large one is big and graphic and goes fast. These patches all finish at 6.5 inches. So you can see the difference laid out together. Well, I'm going to start on the 4-patch, and I'm going to work on the 18-inch block. It'll look really big, really fast. I have my background and my medium green. Now, I prefer to use half strips, so I've already cut them on the fold and turn them right side up. I like to use half strips because it's just so much easier to sew them. And you know, sometimes when you cut those half strips too, you've got that cute little crook right in the middle. So you just cut it out when you use a half strip. Well, I'm using a 1/4-inch seam, 15 stitches to the inch. Oh my gosh, I don't think I ever do anything different, huh? And it is also easier to press half strips, and it's just so much easier to lay them out and cut them into other size pieces. Really prefer that. So once you zip down one, this is going to be so easy. Don't bat an eye, but just grab up the second strip. Make sure you keep those edges lined up together. Assembly line sew it right behind each other. Now I like to put the dark on the top because we're actually going to set the seam and press towards the dark. It just goes a lot easier if you get your sewing organized. Then once you're done, oh, just moves right along. All right, 2 strips, plenty for the 4-patch. Now, just set the seams. Told you this, I really like to use the pressing mat with the grid on it. Set the seam and then just open and press into the seam. And I use my fingers to lead the way. Let's just slide this along. Do the second one, set the seam, lift in, open, and just make sure there's no tucks in those seams. Goes great. Now, if you lay them out with the background across the top on both of them, background and background, and then all you need to do is take the top one, flip it right sides together to the underneath one, and then just lock those seams. Just use your fingers, lock those seams together, get them all lined up. Now, these were 3.5-inch strips. I'm going to cut them into 3.5-inch units. And this is the favorite ruler for going very quickly. I already put 3.5-inch tape every 3.5 inches so I can just line it up and trim at 0, and then just pick up each one of these pieces, just cut straight through. I am into getting them all done ahead of time. Now, I've got them all cut, and I'm just going to pick up the first one, and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, I put the seam deliberately so that it would be going up and away from me, and the reason that I did that is so that whenever I stitch down along here, it actually shoves the top one into the underneath one, and I'm just going to feel. If it's flat, that means that it's locked together. So I always feel, check with my stiletto, and sew along there. Now, let's see how well I did. It's important to press it this way. Put it on the pressing mat with the green on the left. Set the seam, and then just open it up and press into it. Oh, are you going to be impressed? Look at that. It is perfect. Great match right in there. Let me finish the other 3, and I'll show you how to do the geese. We are flying into those geese. Now, the chevron is made up of 2 different geese patches. The first geese is made up of the little check right in here. That's the goose part. And then these 2 pieces beside it make up the whole patch. Well, to make this patch, I have 2 squares for all 4 geese. The check is 7.5 inches square, and then this pink underneath is 9 inches. So got those 2 set up for 4 geese. Now the second set of geese is made with a pink goose right there. You can see that. And then the 2 parts on the side. So my second set is the pink, 7.5, and the background 9 inches. I've got those ready. So I'll show you the 9 inch at the same time. Just smaller squares. Same technique, just smaller squares. For right here, I need to have a 4.5 and a 6-inch square. All right, I am ready. I'm going to just take this set right here, keep the larger square on the bottom, flip the check right sides together to it, and center it right on there. Oh, you can just eyeball it. The best thing is this is oversized, so you can just trim it up if you're not perfect later. But this is a check. If you take your ruler and you can drop it so that it touches all 4 corners on those 2 squares, you have it made. So just draw one diagonal line straight through there, and you're ready for sewing. Pins would be nice, but you know what? If you just hold on to it, you can do it without pins too. Okay, just drop your 1/4 inch foot on the left side of the line and just do that 1/4 inch seam. Sew down on the left side of the line 1/4 inch away. You could assembly line sew, but I'm only going to show you one. So right now, I'm just going to raise my presser foot, turn it, and sew on the second side of the line. So the stitching is actually a 1/2 inch between those 2 stitching lines. And you do exactly the same thing with the other set. Already did it. Just can't stop moving. Okay, see? You can see the diagonal line stitching both sides. 1/2 inch between. Perfect. Okay, now once you have your stitching done, just take your ruler, your cutter, put it back on that diagonal line, and just cut straight through. I'm just going to set those aside, grab this one right here, and do exactly the same thing. If you can keep up with the technique on both of them at the same time, it'll go really good for you. Now, this is really good to watch. You don't think about pressing towards the dark. This is a little different this time. I always drop them with the large triangle on the top. That's what's important. Large triangle on the top. Set the seam, open, and press. And so you can see it's not going behind that darker color. Set the seam and to the large triangle. The reason that I'm doing this is so that by the time I'm done, the seams are going to be just perfect, laying away from that goose patch. Okay, got 2 sets done. Now, they look really strange. I'm just going to take this set right here, and I want to put them back right sides together. I actually line up the outside edges. You keep the seams parallel, going right down through the middle, opposite colors to opposite colors. The inclination right away is to line these seams up. Nope, forget that. Just line up the outside edges and then take your ruler and your marker and draw another diagonal line. Well, actually, I just love to look for those goose tails out in the end. If I've got those goose tails, I know I'm doing it right. And so once again, it's exactly the same thing. You just drop your 1/4 inch foot on the line so that your needle sews 1/4 inch away. Grab your stiletto right now because there's seams underneath and on top. You don't want any seams slipping. You want a perfect point on that goose. So down one side, turn it around, and on the other. I am flying with this. If I could tell you how many hundreds of geese that I have made. So now all you're going to do, cut it again. If you've done the geese technique where you actually take a rectangle and sew those squares on the ends, you will love this because they're really perfect. There's no bias stretch. They look great. Okay, so we've got these 2 things. Open them up and you go, oh my gosh, look at that. I goofed. But this is exactly what I wanted you to do. Now, you actually want to push the seam away from this part, the goose part. Well, when you do that, you'll see that there is a twist in that seam right there. So to avoid that twist, to get rid of that twist, close it back up, match the ends right there, and then take your sharp scissors and right on this fold, clip to the stitches. Just clip right up to the stitches. Do the second thing, second piece, fold it, clip to the stitches. Now, got this one. Better keep it moving right along to the stitches. And now I'm just going to press one of each. Okay, I like to drop it on my pressing mat, holding half of it up because we want to go right into what is the goose. So to 1/2, turn it around, press into the second half, and flip on the back and check and make sure you've got that nice little twist right on the back. Second piece, we'll see how it goes. Okay, hold up halfway in the goose, turn it around, turn it on the back, give it some steam, and you can see that great little twist. Well, we've got both sets done. Now we just have to square them up. They square up to 3.5 inches by 6.5 inches. 3.5 by 6.5. And I have this ruler that just makes it so convenient. You can see the lines. It says right on it 3 by 6 finished geese. So we have to make sure we add our seam allowance, and that's why we're doing it at 3.5 by 6.5. Seam is included in the ruler. So slide it in. You've got your 1/4 inch seam. You've got your points going right down to the corners. I put it on a turnable mat. So I'm just going to cut it in half first so you don't cut into the second one. And just go right down the side. I trimmed it on 2 sides. I'm not even going to pick it up. I'm just going to swing that mat around and cut on the last two sides. So I have trimmed the whole way around. Good, just a little tail. Trimmed the whole way around with that goose. There's my 1/4 inch down in there. Let's just lay it out right here. It's going to go like that and like that. And that's the patch. Now, the 9-inch block is just a little different because this one is only 1.5 by 3. So we're going to take the 1.5 by 3 finished geese. It's exactly the same technique, but you do a little bit of turning. Cut it in half first. Trim off there. One more side. The only thing that we haven't trimmed is the bottom edge. So I'm just going to turn this around and line the diagonal line up like so. Trim it. And I've got the next patch going. Let me finish all these. I'll show you how to sew it together. The points on my geese are as perky as can be. I have my 1/4 inch seam right across the top on both of them, and then the seams go right into the corners like this. This is the chevron, the way you lay it out. When you flip it right sides together, you have this perfect setup on the wrong side. Your stitches go right across that X, and then it's very sharp from the right side. Still a 1/4 inch seam. Just make 4 of these for each block. The measurements are so easy because with those 2 sets of squares, you naturally get 4 geese. So it works out perfect. Now, if you have a choice to be right on or a little short, it's better. So let me show you how good it looks from the right side. Just perfect. So I'm just going to set the seam with the dark pink and the lemon on top, open and press right into it. Now once you have that done, you have your 1/4 inch seams right here on each one of the sides. Perfect. Well, I've got my 4 patch done, my chevrons done. The fussy cut is last. On the 18-inch block, it is a 6.5 inch fussy cut for the center. I have this ruler with an X on it, and I'm just going to take it. Actually, I need to turn it over. Take that X, find a flower that I really like, place the X so that it's right in the middle of the flower. Let me move that down. This is the great part. You can move it around, center it exactly. Now the dash lines around the outside edge indicate where the seam is going to be. So you don't want to put anything important in that. So just trim on 3 sides. I've got it on that turnable mat. So just let me get rid of that. Turn this around. One more cut and I have a beautiful centered flower. Now I'm just going to lay out all of the pieces for the block. It's easy if you just start right in the center with that fussy cut, and then the chevrons go right around it. Let's get the other 3 all done. Put the check next to the center. The little chevron points out. Now, that's the easy part. The 4 patch are a little trickier. Now, I set this up so that all of your seams will lock together. To do that, you want to look on the wrong side of your 4 patch and select the corner that both seams go into the dark or the green. Both seams go in, and that's the one that we're going to place in the corners. And this way, whenever you sew your blocks together, oh, you are going to be so excited because they're all going to lock together. Okay, they're all going like that. Now, I do vertical rows. I just go top to bottom when I sew my block together. So let's just take these, flip them right sides together, and I'll show you what I mean. Right here, where you're going to be putting these 2 seams together, they lock because the geese go up and the 4 patch goes down. And if you can get your seams to lock together, so much easier to match up your points. Let me get this lined up right here and just stitch it along, and then you just hold that seam down. The seam is going up. As I said before, it'll just swing it into it and lock it in place. And then once the first one is done, just grab up the next one, Sew right down along there. Just assembly line sew each one of these pieces as you go along. Now I already have one that I did, and I'm going to show you what it looks like once the vertical rows are sewn. Let me just slip this one in, then I won't get confused when I get back to it. Okay, here's the block that I did earlier. Top to bottom, vertical rows. And in this state, you keep your threads connecting it together. From the wrong side, I pressed my seams away from the geese here, away from the geese here. So whenever you flip it, right sides together to go across, once again, all of those seams lock together the whole way along there, and so your block will come out beautiful. My blocks are finished and I just love them. This is such a beautiful quilt. Well, once your blocks are finished, press them flat and measure them because your lattice is cut exactly the same size as your block. This is a 3.5 inch width and the cornerstones are 3.5 inches square. So get your blocks done. You need to have 8 for a twin, 12 for a queen, and 16 for a king. That's a lot of blocks, and it's a mighty big quilt. Well, then lay the blocks out with your lattice and cornerstones, including cornerstones and lattice on the outside edges, and then sew it together in vertical rows, just straight down. Keep those threads connected because when you go back across the other way, just press your seams towards the lattice and it will be great. And I absolutely love this rosy border I'm putting on the outside edge. Well, popular legend is that pink lemonade was discovered accidentally at a circus, but this is not true. A cookbook was written in 1892 by a Mrs. Kellogg, and she gives the recipe for pink lemonade. She said, add half a cup of fresh strawberries, red raspberries, or cranberry juice. You know, that's very interesting because I have only gotten pink lemonade frozen in the can. Well, from the soft pink colors of summer, we jump right into the bold and bright. Well, Lois Bresloff made 9-inch blocks into Jungle Sunrise Serenade. What a name. The colorful 3-inch birds are certainly singing Lois's praises. She framed her birds with turquoise and black chevrons, and then she set them all in the sunrise colors of yellow, pink, and orange. Well, her quilting lines accent the chain between the blocks, and oh, that border is just perfect. She cut it directional so the birds are not upside down. It's really wild, but really fun. And take a look at her back. You can just see those birds sitting in the tree singing away. So cute. Well, there's black in the next quilt, but that's the only color they share. Sue Bouchard called this a walk in the park. She selected a large-scale print for her border, and then she fussy cut her center squares from the same print and used a soft, creamy background with sage green chains to just pull it all together. It is beautiful. You can even see the quilting on the back side, and her plain beiging is wonderful. So why don't you just kick off your shoes, sit back with a glass of pink lemonade, relax, and dream about your next quilt.